But the kid, I mean, listen, JB is doing, I kind of stopped giving a damn about it a long time ago.
However, LeBron James has finally broken his silence on the whole Jaylen Brown situation, and his response confirmed exactly what we all suspected. The king never forgot. He certainly never moved on. But the specific moment he chose to finally unleash his thoughts, that was the curveball nobody predicted. It all traces back to that infamous whisper that rattled the league. Fast forward to February 22nd, 2026. When the Boston Celtics strolled into Crypto.com Arena, they didn't just win, they absolutely annihilated the Los Angeles Lakers, putting up a lopsided 111-89 scoreboard. We are talking about the type of demolition job that has you reaching for the remote before the fourth quarter even starts. It is the kind of nightmare loss that keeps Lakers fans awake at 2 in the morning, staring at the ceiling and questioning everything. Yet, weirdly enough, the humiliating final score wasn't the main topic dominating the basketball landscape the following morning. Not even close. The thing that actually set every corner of the internet ablaze was a specific bombshell LeBron James dropped during his post-game media availability. When a journalist pressed the king about where he stands with Jaylen Brown, LeBron pivoted and did something unprecedented. He finally tackled the Bronny controversy head-on. His delivery sent absolute tremors through the NBA. To truly grasp the gravity of LeBron's statement, though, we need to rewind the tape to the summer of 2024, to an incident most folks had swept under the rug. It is a memory Jaylen Brown likely prays would vanish, but one that LeBron James clearly kept filed away in his mind every single day since July 15th, 2024. The scene was the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. The Lakers were facing off against the Celtics in what is usually a meaningless exhibition game, but the energy in the building was anything but typical. This was the debut stage for Bronny James, the 55th overall pick in the 2024 draft, fighting to prove he belonged in the big leagues, while the entire basketball universe scrutinized his every move. Bronny had just endured arguably the most microscope-heavy pre-draft process in the history of organized sports. He was bouncing back from a terrifying cardiac arrest incident at USC and posting humble college stats of just 4.8 points per game. It seemed like every analyst, low-budget podcaster, and casual fan with an X account had a hot take on whether the kid actually earned his spot or was just a nepotism hire. That night in Vegas, perched courtside with the best view in the house, sat Jaylen Brown, fresh off winning the NBA Finals MVP trophy and leading Boston to the promised land. He wasn't flying solo, either. Brown was flanked by WNBA talents Kysre, Gondrezick, and Angel Reese. During the action, a camera zoomed in on Brown leaning over to Gondrezick to whisper something that would haunt him for years. Here's the kicker. There was no official microphone feed to capture the conversation. While the audio didn't capture the sound, expert lip readers dissected the high-definition footage and concluded that Brown's comment was brutally simple. He essentially looked at the court and stated, quite clearly, that he didn't think Bronny was a pro-level player. Gondrezick's reply only added fuel to the fire, as she appeared to nod in agreement, suggesting that Bronny was destined for the G League squad. That is when Brown seemingly delivered the knockout blow, remarking that thanks to his legendary surname, he would stick with the Lakers regardless of his skill level.
It is. Jaylen Brown, man. NBA Finals MVP Jaylen Brown.
You had the reigning king of the NBA playoffs looking directly at LeBron James' son, watching him struggle through a 4-point performance on 2 for 9 shooting, and telling his friends that the kid simply didn't have the goods.
That means he had a front row view of one of the most talked about players in the NBA right now, Bronny James, the son of now teammate.
In a matter of hours, the view count hit the millions. Every major sports network ran with the story, igniting a furious debate. Was Jaylen Brown crossing a line by disparaging a rookie, or was he just voicing the uncomfortable truth that everyone else was thinking but afraid to say?
Gondrezick, a former WNBA player, and gave an assessment of the younger Jameses.
By the morning of July 16th, the noise was too loud to ignore, so Brown jumped on social media to address the elephant in the room. He posted a message on X, claiming it was a major flex to have your son in the league with you, calling it a testament to greatness and longevity, and insisting Bronny had all the tools to succeed. He added that he was excited to watch Bronny's development. Now, some fans took this as a sincere clarification, but plenty of others saw it as textbook damage control from a guy caught on 4K camera saying something messy.
Brown appears to say, and I quote, "I don't think Bronny is a pro." Gondrezick appears to respond in our part.
Let's be real. Bronny was a second-round selection with underwhelming college stats, still fighting his way back from a major health scare. The narrative that he only cracked the Lakers roster because of his dad's influence was already being shouted by dozens of pundits long before Brown ever whispered a word.
Says, "I think he'll be in the G League for sure." Brown appears to reply, in part, and I quote, because of his name, he's going to be with the Lakers.
Over on the Gills Arena podcast, the crew reacted exactly how you would imagine they would. Gilbert Arenas and his squad dissected the drama from every angle, reaching the consensus that Brown is entitled to his opinion, even if getting caught saying it looked bad.
This is
That's wild.
like, if he did say it, y'all lip reading, okay, cool, but.
Yeah, had a camera on him.
Brown wasn't standing at a podium. He wasn't tweeting it out. He was having what he thought was a private chat with the friend sitting next to him.
So I'm pretty sure he thinks that way about some other guys.
And as I mentioned before, private, not necessarily private.
You can forget about privacy when you are sitting courtside at a nationally televised sporting event. It simply does not exist. Every single word that leaves your lips, every micro expression on your face, and every subtle gesture is being recorded, analyzed, and dissected by millions of viewers. Jaylen Brown learned that harsh lesson firsthand, but the most significant reaction to the drama was actually the one that never happened. LeBron James, arguably the most media-savvy athlete in professional sports history, said absolutely nothing, not a single word, not a tweet, and not even a cryptic Instagram story. For 18 long months, the King maintained a disciplined silence regarding the Jaylen Brown situation. In the end, silence from a figure like LeBron is infinitely louder than any press conference soundbite could ever hope to be. Because everyone knows one specific truth about him. The man never forgets. He keeps every single receipt, files it away in his mental archives, and waits patiently for the perfect moment to cash it in. That calculated moment finally arrived on the night of February 22nd, 2026, when the King finally broke his silence. The Celtics had just handed the Lakers a brutal 22-point beatdown, and by all conventional logic, the post-game presser should have focused strictly on the match itself. Boston was absolutely rolling, playing elite-level basketball despite losing Jayson Tatum to injury, losing Jrue Holiday, and even losing Kristaps Porzingis. They were essentially watching their entire championship core get dismantled and rebuilt from scratch right before their eyes. And yet, there they were, still competing at the absolute highest level. And the reason for their resilience was obvious to anyone paying close attention. Jaylen Brown was in the middle of the best season of his life. By February 2026, Brown was averaging 29.3 points. He was also putting up 6.9 rebounds and 4.7 assists per game, while shooting an impressive 48.3% from the field. He had rightfully earned his 5th All-Star selection and was single-handedly keeping the Celtics relevant during a season where everyone else had written them off completely. So naturally, when a reporter asked LeBron about Brown's season and their personal relationship, the expectation was that LeBron would offer the standard, diplomatic non-answer. You know the drill, praise the opponent, keep it classy, and move on. And for a brief moment, that is exactly what he did by acknowledging Brown's incredible year and crediting him for stepping up.
I mean, I think he just used the motivation of a lot of people just saying that they're going to have a down year because of, obviously JT being out, them losing Jrue.
LeBron continued to heap praise on how the Celtics managed to stay competitive, directly crediting Brown for keeping the ship afloat during the storm. He made a point to highlight that Brown used all the external doubt and widespread skepticism as high-octane fuel.
He used it as motivation to keep them afloat. They're playing great basketball, and it's because of him and the rest of those guys. He's taking that next step.
His facial expression shifted gears, and out came the words that 18 months of calculated silence had been building toward.
Our relationship has been, pretty respectful. Besides the shit he said about Bronny at Summer League.
There it was. After a year and a half of total radio silence, LeBron James looked directly into the camera lens and let the world know he had not forgotten what Jaylen Brown said about his son, not for a second. The reporters in the room pounced on the comment immediately, pressing to see if the two superstars had managed to move past the incident.
Other than that, we've been all right,
Were you guys able to get past that?
We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Yeah, we'll be all right.
Now, listen closely to the specific way LeBron delivered that line. We will be all right, he said it 3 separate times. And with every single repetition, it sounded a little less convincing than the time before, which is not the behavior of a man who has truly moved on. That is the behavior of a man telling you he is choosing to be the bigger person while simultaneously letting you know the wound is still very much fresh. Then, LeBron addressed Brown's social media damage control from 2024. The post where Brown tried to clean up his comments by praising LeBron's longevity and Bronny's potential.
I think he went on social media and said something about it. It's all good, but Bronny got a long way to go, but that's another story.
That last part is what really stuck out. Bronny has got a long way to go, but that is another story. LeBron acknowledged that his son is still developing. He did not pretend Bronny was already an all-star, nor did he get defensive about the criticism itself. What clearly bothered LeBron was not that someone had an opinion on his son's game, but rather who said it and exactly how they chose to say it. There's a massive difference between a paid TV analyst breaking down a player's weaknesses and a fellow NBA peer whispering about your kid to his buddies courtside while your son is out there competing. Yet, the truly remarkable part is what LeBron did next. Despite everything, and despite the fact that he clearly had not fully forgiven or forgotten.
But the kid, I mean, listen, JB is doing shit. He's playing great basketball, man. And you can't fault this out on, this whole MVP thing.
He went even further, effectively making a case for Brown as the league's most valuable player and questioning why the media was not giving Brown more flowers for the season he was producing.
I don't understand why his name is not getting talked about some as well. Like, nobody gave him a shot to start the season. And he's averaging, 30?
It was the kind of answer that says absolutely everything by saying almost nothing at all.
Yeah, it's a popularity contest sometimes, I tell you.
When reporters tried to back LeBron into a corner about whether Brown actually earned the league's top individual accolade, the King didn't take the bait. Instead, he made it crystal clear he has his own messy history with that particular trophy.
You feel like he could be MVP?
Last question.
I mean, that's not for me. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the criteria of MVP anymore.
You were not going to catch LeBron out there politicking for anyone, simply because in his headspace, that entire voting circus went bankrupt on credibility ages ago.
I kind of stopped giving a damn about it a long time ago.
That clip hit Hoop Central on X and absolutely went nuclear overnight, racking up 4.67 million views, 36.7 thousand likes, 1.4 thousand reposts, and over 5,000 bookmarks in just a few hours. The basketball side of the internet spiraled into absolute chaos, with hot takes flying in from every conceivable angle, starting with the LeBron loyalists hailing him for being a protective father figure. Heavy hitters like SM Highlights 1 stood 10 toes down for LeBron, garnering nearly 4,000 likes for saying he is just guarding his family. While Playoff Lucro argued, you can't expect a dad to stay quiet when folks run their mouth about his kid. Accounts all over the timeline started echoing the exact same vibe: the King keeps his receipts, and he does not throw them away. The consensus was that Bron had been sitting on this specific moment, waiting for the perfect window to let Brown know that little comment was definitely not water under the bridge. Then you flip the coin, and there was a massive battalion of fans who were riding specifically with Jaylen Brown on this one. You had voices like Solden Bat Wets pulling in over 2,000 likes by asking if questioning Bronny's readiness really counts as disrespect or just simple observation. 30 Problems chimed in, noting that Brown was technically correct, seeing as Bronny has spent the bulk of his rookie campaign down in the G League trenches. Then users like Spain PNR went for the jugular, arguing that if LeBron was going to get insecure about honest critiques, he never should have flexed his muscle to get his son drafted in the first place. The reason this firestorm kept burning is that both camps actually brought receipts. Strictly speaking, Jaylen Brown's initial take was factually pretty bulletproof. Fast forward to February 2026, and Bronny James had only suited up for 29 Lakers contests, putting up a meager 2.3 points per outing in garbage time minutes. Now, his G League splits were a bit more promising, showing averages of 15.5 points, 3.8 boards, and 4.8 dimes across a 6-game stint with South Bay. He even had a solid showing on February 22nd, 2026, dropping 17 points and snagging 7 rebounds against the Texas Legends while shooting 50% from the floor. But while that performance showed legitimate flashes of what he could become, it didn't erase the bigger picture here. The cold, hard reality remained that Bronny was still very much a raw developmental project, meaning Brown's assessment from back in 2024 had aged surprisingly well. The nepotism debate and the fallout. This whole LeBron versus Brown dust-up did way more than just farm engagement and generate cheap clicks. It completely ripped the lid off a toxic conversation that has been bubbling just beneath the surface of the NBA landscape for years now. We are talking about the raw debate concerning nepotism, exactly who earns a roster spot, and whether being the offspring of the generation's greatest icon is a golden ticket or a heavy cross to bear. This argument played out live across every digital platform, but Gilbert Arenas had actually poured the concrete for this discussion way back in July 2024. They broke down that viral Brown clip and hammered home a specific point that really seemed to strike a nerve with the basketball community. The microscopic pressure being dumped on Bronny James was fundamentally twisted because literally nobody puts that kind of heat on a late second-round draft pick. The guys on the panel laid out some comparisons that really forced everyone to put the whole situation into proper perspective. Ironically, Bronny might actually look smoother once the real season kicks off because he will be matching up against the same veterans every day. It is history for the old dude. Then they dropped a statistical bomb that essentially silenced the room for a minute, proving that if you want to trash Summer League performances, you have to look at the data objectively. Trae Young. For example, do you guys realize he shot something like 4 for 26 from deep? And Jaylen Brown. Yep, that is the one. Jaylen Brown himself. The very man claiming Bronny didn't look like a pro, posted a Summer League debut that looked eerily similar on the stat sheet. Keep in mind, this guy was the number 3 overall pick in the NBA draft top 3, and in his first 3 games, just like Bronny, he went a rough 6 for 26. But the critical distinction the panel highlighted was the narrative surrounding those struggles. When Jaylen Brown was bricking shots in the Summer League as a top 3 lottery pick, not a single soul questioned if he belonged in the league. Jaylen Brown was sitting there, shooting 5 for 26 from the field in his opening trio of games. Yeah, 5 makes. Yet nobody called Brown a fraud. Nobody screamed for him to be sent to the G League. And nobody claimed he only got drafted for reasons other than his pure hoop ability. The patience and grace extended to Jaylen Brown as a struggling rookie were completely absent when it came to critiquing Bronny James. The reason why is painfully obvious. It is the last name on the jersey and the impossible-to-escape comparisons to his legendary father. Those comparisons created a weight of expectation that no second-round pick in the entire history of the association has ever been forced to shoulder. No. Listen, he was the 3rd pick in the entire draft, and nobody put a fraction of that pressure on him. This is where the nepotism argument becomes a double-edged sword, and that is exactly what makes this situation so messy. On one side of the coin, it is entirely possible Bronny James wouldn't even be sniffing an NBA roster if his surname was Smith or Johnson. His production at USC didn't exactly scream league ready, and falling to the 55th overall pick was a direct reflection of those numbers. The Lakers picking him up was widely interpreted as a package deal just to keep LeBron content, a point the critics have been hammering since day one. But on the flip side, people forget, this kid survived a literal cardiac arrest episode that easily could have curtained his career before it even truly began. He made a comeback to play Division I ball and has honestly displayed some legitimate sparks of two-way potential while grinding in the G League. If you look at his recent stretch on the floor, it suggests there is real talent there, even if it is going to require some patience to fully bake. Comparing his situation to other NBA family dynasties is actually really eye-opening. The crew over at Gil's Arena highlighted guys like Chris Smith, J.R. Smith's brother, and don't forget Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Giannis's brother, both of whom held down end-of-bench roster spots largely thanks to their bloodlines. Yet, absolutely nobody questioned whether those guys were legitimate professionals. You didn't hear whispers from courtside, and nobody turned it into a national news cycle when they clocked limited minutes during garbage time. That is because, at the end of the day, the 15th man on an NBA squad occupies a strange gray area where he is technically a pro, but, in reality, he is almost never asked to step onto the hardwood and prove his worth to the world. No offense intended. But is the league easy? Absolutely not. Like I said from the jump, the NBA is a grind. It is brutally hard. That is the core truth that gets completely buried in all this online discourse. Every single guy wearing a jersey earned his ticket somehow. Maybe it was through God-given talent, insane work ethic, the right connections, or a mix of all three. And Bronny James, despite all the criticism thrown his way, is in the gym every single day working his tail off to level up. His numbers in the G League are climbing. His defensive instincts are getting props from coaches. And at just 21 years old, time is on his side. What made LeBron's comments in February 2026 so captivating wasn't just the jab at Jaylen Brown, it was the nuance of his stance. He simultaneously admitted his son has a mountain to climb, while making it crystal clear he won't tolerate disrespect from a peer. He gave Brown his flowers for his game while reminding him that running your mouth comes with a price tag. He kept it classy, but ensured everyone in the room understood that the king keeps receipts. The media reaction perfectly captured that complexity. Outlets like TalkSport and Newsweek spun LeBron's clapback as a protective dad moment, highlighting the raw emotion of a father shielding his child on the world stage. Meanwhile, Mass Live and The Athletic took a cooler approach, noting LeBron's joking tone and insisting the mutual respect between the two stars hasn't gone anywhere. Then you had Bleacher Report and Yahoo leaning into the petty narrative, painting LeBron as a guy with an elephant's memory who waits for the perfect time to strike. On Reddit, it was even deeper. Threads on the NBA subreddit and our Lakers page debated if Brown's original comment was actual shade or just a candid take shared in a private moment. Some users pointed out the irony of LeBron calling the MVP race a popularity contest while using his own clout to keep his son on a roster. Others stood 10 toes down for LeBron, arguing that no father in any profession would stay silent while a co-worker publicly doubted his kid's ability. As for Jaylen Brown, the man caught in the middle of this storm, he hasn't added any fuel to the fire. His clarification tweet from July 2024 remains his only word on it. And he hasn't said a peep about LeBron's remarks in February 2026. You can decide if that silence is maturity, him simply not caring, or a strategic move to stop the drama from escalating. But the one thing you absolutely cannot debate is what Brown has been doing on the parquet floor. With career-high averages near 30 points a game, his fifth All-Star nod, and leading a revamped Celtics squad, he has cemented himself as elite. He is undeniably one of the most valuable assets in the league, a fact even LeBron had to admit in the very same press conference where he aired his grievances. The lasting impact of this saga goes way deeper than basketball. It is a story about how private thoughts turn into public spectacles in our surveillance era. It highlights the impossible standards set for the children of legends and the double-edged sword that comes with growing up under the bright lights. And it is about a father, a 41-year-old icon who has achieved more than almost anyone in history, still getting stung by a comment about his kid from 2 years ago. Because when it is all said and done, LeBron James isn't just the all-time scoring leader with over 43,000 career points. He isn't just the player who has been to more finals than most franchises have in their entire existence. He is a dad first. And when someone questions if your child belongs, you remember it, you file it away. And when the moment is right, you let them know, we are going to be all right. But you best believe you'll hear about it. That wraps up this video. But stay put because we have more heat coming. Tap the cards on your screen and keep it locked.